दोनों विषय नाम कर जो कम एनर्जी बिल्डिंग ग्राफ कैसे दिस okay dear student today we will take the third lecture of PS 3501 as you know in the first lecture we have studied Franken's experiment. In the second lecture we have studied Compton effect and its example. So today in the third lecture we are going to study one integral which is a well-known integral known as phase integral. Okay. So today I will define what is a phase integral and what is the quantization of phase integral and what are the application of this phase integral. You have studied different integrals in the 5 years CE electricity. You have studied the line integral, of electric field, which is written as integration of E dot dl. So integral E dot dl is called the line integral of electric field. Similarly, surface integral of electric field can be written as E dot dA. So integral E dot dl is the line integral of electric field. Integral E dot dA is the surface integral of electric field. And we have also studied the Gauss theorem in electric field using this integral. Okay. Today we are going to define phase integral. You are familiar with different coordinate system. Cartesian coordinate system, we are taking the coordinate of the particles x, y, z. In spherical polar coordinate system, we are taking the coordinate as r, theta, phi. So you are familiar with these coordinates. X, y, z are called Cartesian coordinates, and r, theta, phi are known as polar coordinates. We are going to define phase integral which can be applicable for both the coordinates, Cartesian coordinates as well as spherical polar coordinates. Now generalized position coordinates are denoted by Qi. Means it is Q1, Q2, Q3 and so on. If you are working with Cartesian coordinate system, then you can take Q1 is equal to x, Q2 is equal to y, Q3 is equal to z. And generalized momentum coordinates are denoted by Pi, P1, P2, P3 and so on. So generalized position coordinates are denoted by Qi, that is Q1, Q2, Q3 and so on. And its canonically conjugate momentum coordinates are denoted by Pi, it is P1, P2, P3 and so on. If you are working with Cartesian coordinate system, then generalized position coordinate Q1 you can take as x, Q2 is equal to y, Q3 is equal to z, and corresponding momentum in Cartesian coordinate can be written as the momentum of the particle in x coordinate is px, momentum in y direction will be py, momentum in the z direction will be pz. So I have written this for Cartesian coordinate system. If you are working with spherical polar coordinates, if you are working with spherical polar coordinates, then this q1 will be r, this q2 will be theta, q3 will be phi. And momentum coordinate in spherical polar coordinate, the generalized momentum coordinate can be written as pr, corresponding to theta coordinate momentum coordinate is p theta, and corresponding to phi coordinate it is p phi. Okay. Presently we will work with the Cartesian coordinates. So Cartesian coordinates are x, y, z. In x direction the momentum is px, y direction momentum is py, and z direction momentum is pz. Let us consider an example. A particle moving in a three-dimensional space. How do you specify the position of a particle? How do you specify the position of a particle moving in a three-dimensional space? Let us see. This is the x-axis, y-axis, z-axis. This is the particle of mass m. The position of the particle, this particle has three coordinates. This is the x coordinate of the particle, this is the y coordinate of the particle, and in z direction its z coordinate will be z. So this particle moving in a three-dimensional space, its position is specified. The position of a particle in a three-dimensional space can be specified. By the Cartesian coordinates. The position of the particle moving in a three-dimensional space can be specified by three Cartesian coordinates x, y, and z. So how to write the generalized coordinate for this particle? The generalized position coordinates for this particle will be q1 is equal to, you can take as x coordinate, q2 you can take y coordinate, and q3 you can take as z coordinate. So generalized position coordinate for this particle, for the motion of this particle in a three-dimensional space is q1 is equal to x, q2 is equal to y, and q3 is equal to z. And the generalized momentum coordinates will be p1 is equal to px, p2 is equal to py, and p3 is equal to pz. So these are the generalized position and momentum coordinate for the position of a particle moving in a three-dimensional space are q1 is equal to x, q2 is equal to y, q3 is equal to z. And the corresponding momentum coordinate will be p1 is equal to px, p2 is equal to py, p3 is equal to pz. Okay, now we define the phase integral. What is the phase integral? For periodic system, what is the periodic system? The system which are repeating its motion at the regular interval of time are called periodic system. As for example, simple harmonic oscillator which is repeating its motion at a regular interval of time. It's called a periodic system. You can consider the motion of electron in a hydrogen atom is also a periodic system. Then for periodic system like simple harmonic oscillator, motion of electron in a hydrogen atom, the phase integral is defined by integration of pi dqi. pi dqi. As I told you, in this integral pi dqi is called phase integral, and for each coordinate we have to write the individual, the separate phase integral for each coordinate. For x coordinate you have one integral, for y coordinate you have to write down the second phase integral, for z coordinate you have to write the third phase integral like that. Okay, so this is the phase integral. Phase integral is defined by integral pi dqi, and this phase integral we are using for periodic system. Phase integral is defined by integral pi dqi. As you know, in this pi, what is pi? Pi is the momentum coordinate of the particle, generalized momentum coordinate. And what is qi? Qi is the position. This pi is the momentum coordinate of the particle, and qi is the position coordinate of the particle. So in this phase integral for periodic system, phase integral is defined by integral pi dqi. In this phase integral, pi represents the momentum coordinates and qi represents the position coordinate. As you know that in Cartesian coordinate, the position coordinates are x, y, z, and momentum coordinates are px by pz. Okay. Now, if it is postulated that value of phase integral, yes, what is this limit of this integration is taken over one period of the variable qi. Integration is taken over one period of the variable qi, its position. You have to take the limit of position coordinate, lower limit and upper limit. That we will take in the next example. Okay. Now Wilson postulated that if the value of phase integral is an integral multiple of Planck constant h, then energy levels of different periodic systems can be derived. So what Wilson has postulated, scientist Wilson has postulated that if the value of this phase integral is an integral multiple of Planck constant h, then you can derive the Planck's radiation law, you can obtain the energy of hydrogen atom, you can also derive the energy of different periodic systems from this phase integral. So let us take the value of phase integral pi dqi, which is an integral multiple of Planck constant h. N is integer. This n is integer. I stands for the number of coordinates. If you are using your particle is involved in one dimension, then I will give one coordinate on the x coordinate. If the particle is in a two-dimensional space, then there are two coordinates x and y. If particle is in a three-dimensional space, then I has three values: x coordinate, y coordinate, and z coordinate. Okay. So this is the postulate made by Wilson. Scientist Wilson postulated that if the value of phase integral pi dqi is an integral multiple of Planck constant h, then you can calculate the energy levels of different periodic systems. You can also compute the elliptical orbit of electron in a hydrogen atom. You can calculate the different energies of different periodic systems. Okay. You can also derive the Planck's radiation law from this phase integral. You can compute the elliptical orbit of the electron in a hydrogen atom, and you can similarly calculate the energy levels of different periodic systems from this phase integral. This is a well-known phase integral. This rule is known as Wilson Sommerfeld quantum rule. The value of each phase integral pi dqi is an integral multiple of Planck constant h. This rule or condition is known as Wilson-Sommerfeld quantum rule because this was postulated by scientist Wilson, and in the following year, in 1915, and in the following year, the same postulate was given by scientist Sommerfeld. Okay, so this, let us see the application of this phase integral. That value of each phase integral pi dqi is an integral multiple of Planck constant h. Okay, which results can be derived. I take one example. So this Wilson-Sommerfeld quantum rule can be applied. Wilson-Sommerfeld quantum rule can be applied this Wilson-Sommerfeld quantum rule can be applied to a number of periodic systems to find energy levels of that system. So if you apply this Wilson-Sommerfeld quantum rule to a periodic system, then you can compute the energy levels of systems. Okay. Say, suppose you are working with Cartesian coordinates, then q1 will be x, q2 will be y, q3 will be z, and corresponding momentum will be px, py, and pz. Okay. So how to write the phase integral for x coordinate, y coordinate, and z coordinate? Okay. The phase integral is integration of pi dqi is equal to nih. Okay. Now I want to write the phase integral for x coordinate. How to write? So in x coordinate, the momentum coordinate is px. So instead of pi, I write px. My position coordinate is x. So px dx is equal to nx into h. So this is the phase integral for x coordinate. You can write down the phase integral for y coordinate similarly. That in y direction the momentum is py. Y position coordinate is y is equal to n by h. And for z coordinate, phase integral can be written as in z direction the momentum is pz, the position coordinate is z, pz is equal to nz. So in this way, you can write down the phase integral for x coordinate, y coordinate, and z coordinate. Now let us apply the phase integral. Let us apply the Wilson-Sommerfeld quantum rule. What is Wilson-Sommerfeld quantum rule? The value of phase integral pi dqi is an integral multiple of Planck constant h. This Wilson-Sommerfeld quantum rule can be applied to a number of periodic system to find the energy of that system. Okay? We take one simple example. Okay, so let us use this Wilson Sommerfeld quantum rule to find the energy of a particle which is constrained to move in a one-dimensional box. So let us consider a one-dimensional box. What is a one-dimensional box? Actually, box has three dimensions. It has length along x direction, breadth along y direction, height along z direction. But we want to consider one-dimensional box, so it has only length along x direction. So let us consider a one-dimensional box of length n. So let us apply this phase integral or Wilson Sommerfeld quantum rule to calculate, to compute the energy of a particle moving in a one-dimensional box of length n. So let us imagine a one-dimensional box of length l. Okay. This is the left-hand side wall of the box. This is right-hand side wall of the box. And we imagine one particle, say electron, moving in this one-dimensional box, whose mass is m. Whose mass is m. Okay, so let us consider a particle. Let us consider a particle electron moving in a one-dimensional box of length L between two walls. X is equal to 0 and x is equal to n. The length of the box is L. This is a one-dimensional box, so it has only length. It doesn't have breadth and height. Okay. Now, when particle starts its motion from x is equal to 0, it travels distance L and the particle will strike on the other wall. After striking on the other wall, the particle will be reflected back. Again travels distance L and come back to the initial position at 0. This is the to and fro motion of the particle between two walls of the box. So the total distance traveled by the particle during its one period is L by its true motion and again L by its fro motion. So the value of the total distance traveled by the particle will be 2L during its one period. Okay. So let us compute the energy of a particle moving in a one-dimensional box of length L. Using the Wilson Sommerfeld quantum rule, let us calculate the energy of a particle moving in a one-dimensional box of length L. The particle is moving. This particle is constrained to move between two walls of the box. X is equal to 0 and x is equal to L. Okay. The particle travels distance L during its true motion, then it strikes on the other wall. After striking, it is reflected back and again travels distance L and come back to the original wall x equals 0. So total distance traveled by the particle is during its 2L fro motion will be L plus L, that is 2L. Now this particle, I write here, particle undergoes perfectly elastic collision with rigid walls of one-dimensional box. So let us consider a particle. Let's imagine a particle moving in a one-dimensional box of length L between two walls of the box 0 and L. The particle undergoes perfectly elastic collision with rigid walls of the box. When particle travels distance L, it will strike on the other wall. After striking on the other wall, it is reflected back, and after reflection, it will again travel distance L and come back to the original position. So total distance traveled by the particle will be 2L during its one period. Okay. Now, no forces are acting on the particle. No other forces are acting on particle. If no forces are acting on the particle, its potential energy is 0. So total energy of the particle will be the kinetic energy of the particle. Now, this particle is moving in a one-dimensional box only along x-axis. So particle has only one coordinate, that is x. Okay. So I write the coordinate of this particle, coordinates of this particle q1 is equal to x only, because particle is moving only along x direction, so it has only x coordinate. When particle is here, its x coordinate will be 0. If particle is the midpoint of the box, x coordinate will be L by 2. If particle is at the end of this, the x coordinate will be, so particle, during the motion of the particle, the x coordinate of the particle is going to change. So the coordinate, generalized coordinate, position coordinate of the particle will be x only, because particle is moving only along x axis, so it is only x coordinate. And in x direction, the momentum of the particle will be px. If it is a two-dimensional motion, then you have to take x and y coordinate, and momentum will be px and py. Now, the phase integral for this particle, we will write the phase integral for this particle, which has x coordinate and momentum coordinate is px. Phase integral for periodic portion of this particle as I told you that particle is moving in a one-dimensional box along x-axis only, so particle has only x coordinate, and the momentum of the particle in x direction px. Particle is in a one-dimensional box along x-axis, so particle has only x coordinate. If particle is here, x coordinate is 0. If it is here, it is L by 2. Particle is here, x coordinate is L. So during the motion of the particle, only x coordinate is going to change. So the generalized position coordinate of the particle is x, and generalized momentum coordinate will be px. So now let us write the phase integral for the periodic motion of this particle moving in a one-dimensional box. What is the standard form of phase integral? This pi dqi is equal to ni. Value of phase integral is an integral multiple of Planck constant h. Okay, I write this phase integral for our periodic system, that for particle in x direction the momentum of the particle is px, the position coordinate of the particle is x, so px dx is equal to n. So this is the phase integral for the particle moving in a one-dimensional box of Planck. So the momentum of the particle moving in a one-dimensional box is px. The position coordinate of the particle is x, so it is px dx is equal to n. The value of phase integral px dx is an integral multiple of Planck constant h. If you solve this phase integral, you will get the momentum of this particle, and from the momentum of this particle, you will get the energy of the particle. Okay, now what is the limit of x? When particle started its motion, x coordinate was 0. Particle travels distance L during its true motion, and after standing on the other one, it is reflected back and again travels distance L during its flow motion. So total distance traveled by the particle will be 2L. So limit of x is from 0 to 2L. Okay, now this is the phase integral for the particle moving in the one-dimensional box. Integral px dx to ns. Limit of x is from 0, and during one period of its motion, the particle travels distance 2L. So limit of x is from 0 to 2L. Px is the constant momentum of the particle, can be taken outside the integral. Px dx is equal to nh. The limit of x will move from 0 to 2L. So px integral dx is x from 0 to 2L is equal to nh. In px is the constant constant value of the momentum of the particle moving in the one-dimensional box. It is constant. Taken outside the integral. Integral dx is x from 0 to 2 is nh. If you put the limit, it is px into 2 pi is equal to nh. So px is equal to nh upon 2 pi. So this equation gives the momentum of the particle moving in a one-dimensional box. This equation gives the momentum of a particle moving in a one-dimensional box. from the yes, what is the physical significance of this equation? From the phase integral, we have derived the momentum of the particle moving in the one-dimensional box, and that comes nh upon 2 pi, where n is the integer. It means that if you put n is equal to 0, the momentum of the particle will be 0. If you take n is equal to 1, the momentum of the particle will be h upon 2 pi. For n is equal to 2, the momentum of the particle will be 2h upon 2 pi. For 3, it is 3h upon 2 pi. It means that quantum mechanics says that the particle cannot move with any speed, particle cannot move with any velocity, any value of velocity. So particle cannot have any value of momentum. Classical mechanics says that the particle can move with any velocity, particle can have any value of momentum. But quantum mechanics says that particle cannot have any value of momentum, it cannot have any value of energy. This particle has a discrete values of momentum. Particle can have 0 momentum, particle can have h upon 2 pi momentum, 2h upon 2 pi momentum, 3h upon 2 pi momentum, but in between values of momentum are not possible from this equation. And the second calculation, let us find out the energy of particle. So this equation indicates that the particle cannot have any value of momentum, and therefore particle cannot have any value of energy. Particle can have momentum 0, h upon 2 pi, 2h upon 2 pi, 3h upon 2 pi, but in between values of momentum are not possible. Let us calculate the energy of a particle. The total energy of the particle is the sum of kinetic energy and potential energy. The kinetic energy of the particle is half mv square, where m is the mass of the particle, is the velocity of the particle. Now, as I told you that there are no forces are acting on the particle, so its potential energy is 0. No forces are acting on the particle, so its potential energy is 0. If you multiply this equation with n, it will be m square v square divided with n. Multiply by m and divide by m, you will get m square v square upon 2m. So energy will be, what is m? M is the momentum of the particle, so it is v square upon 2m. So kinetic energy is half mv square. If you multiply by m, it will be m square v square divided by m, it is 2m. So m is the momentum of the particle, so total energy of the particle is px square upon 2m. So energy of the particle is px square upon 2. That is the kinetic energy only, because potential energy is 0. Okay. Now if you substitute the value of m, px, substitute the value of momentum px, you will get the energy of the particle moving in a one-dimensional box. So energy of the particle is equal to, what is the momentum of the particle? The momentum of the particle we have calculated from the phase integral, it is nh upon 2 pi. So I write here nh upon 2 pi whole square divided by 1 upon 2m. So the final equation you will get n square h square, this is 4 pi square into 2m, that is 8 pi square. So this equation gives the energy of a particle moving in a one-dimensional box. Sorry. This is not 2 pi, it is 2l. Because limit upon limit is 2l, so 2l. So I make the correction, please. The possible values of momentum will be 0, h upon 2l, 2h upon 2l, 3h upon 2l. Right? Repeat the calculation. The possible values of momentum of the particle is nh upon 2l. So nh upon 2l whole square into 1 upon 2m. So energy of the particle comes n square s square. This is 4l square into 2l will be 8 ms square. Okay, so this equation gives the quantized values of energy of the particle moving in a one-dimensional box. It is n square s square upon 8m square. N is an integer having values 1, 2, 3 and so on. S is the Planck constant, m is the mass of the particle, and L is the length of the particle. So I draw the different energy levels of this particle. I draw the different energy levels of this particle. N is equal to 1, 2, 3. Okay, so what is the particle is in the energy level 1. What is the energy of this particle? E1 is equal to N1. So 1 square will be 1 S square upon 8 ml square. In the level N is equal to 2, the energy of the particle will be 4 times greater because 2 square is 4 S square upon 8 ml square. And in the energy level N is equal to 3, the energy of the particle will be 3 square will be 9 S square upon 8 ml square. So energy in the level N02 is 4 times greater than E1, and energy of the particle in the level 3 is 9 times greater than E1. So according to quantum mechanics, the particle cannot have any value of momentum, particle cannot have any value of energy, particle has discrete values of momentum and discrete values of the energy. And that is why we get discrete energy levels of the particle. Therefore, we get discrete energy level of the particle 1, 2 and 3. In the level 1, energy is E1, level 2 is E2, level 3 is E3. So quantum mechanics substitutes a discrete energy level diagram for the particle. On the other hand, classical mechanics, any value of velocity momentum is possible, any particle can have any value of energy, so we get continuous spectrum. On the other hand, quantum mechanics says that we get discrete energy levels of the particle whose energy is given by n square s square upon 8m square. And I lastly I give a small example, just 2 or 3 minutes. Only one. Let us consider the electron moving in a one-dimensional box of length L is equal to 1 angstrom. Let us take a small example. Consider electron moving in a one-dimensional box of length L is equal to 1 angstrom. Then what is the energy in the level 1 and what is the energy of the electron in the level n is equal to 2? So let us calculate the energy difference between these two energy levels 1 and 2. So electron, you know very well the mass of the electron is 9.13 10 to minus 31 kilogram. Length of the box is given to you, that is 1 angstrom, means 10 to minus 10 meter. And you are asked to calculate the energy of the electron in the energy level 1 and 2. What is the energy of the electron in energy level n 1? It is s square upon 8 m square. I am not going to put the values. You can calculate at home. That Planck constant is 6.62 10 to minus 34 joule into second. Mass of the electron. What is the mass of the electron? 9.13 10 to minus 31 kilogram. And length of the box. Length of the box is 1 angstrom. So energy of the electron in the energy level n is equal to 1 comes 0.6 10 to minus 10 earth. In the energy level n is equal to 2, the energy of the electron will be 4 s square by m square. That is 4 times greater than the energy E1. So 0.6 into 4 will be 2.4 into 10 to minus 10. I have done the calculation in CGS system. So I have written the energy in terms of earth. And lastly, the energy difference between two energy level is E2 minus E1. That is 2.4 minus 0.6 is 1.8 10 to minus 10 earth. So this is the energy difference of the energy of electron moving in a one-dimensional box of length 1 angstrom between two levels 1 and 2. That is 2.4 minus 0.6 1.8 that is mass energy. If you convert this energy into electron volt, that comes out to be 130 electron. So this value is very small, but on the atomic dimension, this value is too much, and therefore we can say that the energy levels of electrons are discrete. So quantum mechanics substitutes a discrete energy level spectrum for the particle moving around in the box, it has distinct values of energies given by n square upon 8 square. Thank you so much. Very good.